I've always had a fascination with the darker aspects of the internet. It was a morbid curiosity that had driven me to explore the hidden underbelly of the web, the notorious dark web. Late one night, when the world was asleep, and the only sounds were the humming of my computer, I decided to venture into the abyss. I fired up my Tor browser, my virtual mask to protect my identity, and began my journey into the digital shadows. The dark web was a place of anonymity and secrets, a place where the rules of the surface web didn't apply. As I navigated through obscure websites and forums, I stumbled upon a link with an ominous name, the Obsidian Chamber. The website was stark, with a black background and eerie crimson text that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Intrigued and apprehensive, I clicked on the link. The site turned out to be a forum like no other I had seen. The threads were filled with cryptic messages, encrypted files, and conversations that hinted at forbidden knowledge. Users went by aliases such as Cryptic Soul and Shadow Seeker. It was a realm where anonymity was a badge of honor, and the pursuit of darkness was a shared obsession. One particular thread caught my attention. Its title was The Elixir of Shadows, and it promised to reveal a dark secret capable of altering one's perception of reality. The thread contained testimonials from users who claimed to have tasted the elixir and experienced visions beyond imagination. Skeptical yet curious, I decided to dive deeper. As I scrolled through the thread, I received a private message from an anonymous user. It simply said, "Are you brave enough to drink from the abyss?" My heart raced as I typed my response. "Yes, I want to know." Within moments, another message arrived, containing a set of instructions and coordinates. It instructed me to meet at a remote location in an abandoned warehouse district, and the rendezvous was set for midnight. The day of reckoning arrived, and as the clock struck midnight, I found myself standing outside a dilapidated warehouse, shrouded in darkness. I clutched the instructions in my trembling hand, wondering if I had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Inside the warehouse, I was greeted by a group of hooded figures, their faces hidden in the shadows. In the center of the room, a crude altar held a chalice filled with a thick black liquid. It looked like ink but seemed to emit a faint, eerie glow. The leader of the group, a figure in a crimson robe, spoke with a voice that sent shivers down my spine. "To know the truth, you must first embrace the darkness," they intoned. My heart pounding, I stepped forward and accepted the chalice. The liquid inside was cold and viscous like a tangible darkness. I hesitated for a moment, then, with a sense of dread and anticipation, I brought it to my lips and took a sip. The elixir was unlike anything I had ever tasted. It was bitter and sweet, and as it coursed through my veins, I felt a sensation of weightlessness. My surroundings blurred, and I was transported to a surreal realm where reality itself seemed to unravel. I witnessed grotesque visions of monstrous entities, nightmarish landscapes, and unspeakable horrors. It was as if I had been thrust into a dimension beyond human comprehension. I screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the void. Suddenly, the vision stopped, and I found myself back in the warehouse gasping for breath. The hooded figures were gone, leaving me alone with the empty chalice. I stumbled out of the warehouse, my mind in turmoil, and returned to my computer, desperate to forget the horrors I had witnessed. The dark web had shown me a world of nightmares, and I had willingly stepped into the abyss. As I closed my Tor browser and disconnected from that dark corner of the internet, I knew that I had paid a terrible price for my curiosity. The elixir had revealed a truth too horrifying to bear, and I was left haunted by the shadows that now lurked within me. The dark web had shown me the darkest recesses of human existence, and I had become a prisoner of the abyss, forever haunted by the elixir's malevolent secrets. It was a stormy night, the kind of night when rational thought seemed to slip away and the imagination takes over. As the rain lashed against my window, I couldn't resist the temptation any longer. I was going to dive into the dark web, a realm of the internet where secrets and shadows intertwined. I launched the Tor browser, my shield against prying ease, and embarked on a journey into the depths of the web. The dark web was a place of whispered legends, where anonymity was power and curiosity was a double-edged sword. After delving into various websites and forums, I stumbled upon a link that sent shivers down my spine: the Cryptic Conclave. The website was an enigma with a blood-red background and a font that seemed to dance like flames. The forum threads were filled with cryptic messages, codes, and discussions about the darkest of subjects. Users on this site went by names like Cryptic Oracle and Shadow Dweller, revealing their commitment to the clandestine. It was as if I had entered a secret society, a realm where the line between curiosity and obsession blurred. One particular thread caught my eye. Its title read, "The Mirror of Souls," and it promised a glimpse into the darkest corners of human consciousness. The thread contained testimonials from users who claimed to have stared into the mirror and seen their true selves, stripped of all pretense and facade. My curiosity piqued. I decided to investigate further. As I read through the thread, a private message popped up on my screen. From an anonymous sender, it said, "Do you dare to confront your inner demons?" I hesitated for only a moment before replying, "Yes, I'm willing." The message came with coordinates and a cryptic set of instructions. I was to meet at an abandoned asylum, a place where the barriers between the living and the dead had grown thin. The rendezvous was set for midnight, and I couldn't resist the call of the unknown. The night of the meeting arrived, and I found myself standing outside the decaying walls of the asylum. The moon cast an eerie glow on the broken windows and crumbling facades. I clutched the instructions in my trembling hand and wondered if I had ventured too far into the abyss. Inside, the asylum was a maze of darkness and despair. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and the only sound was the haunting whisper of the wind. I followed the instructions, navigating through the labyrinthine corridors until I reached a chamber, bathed in a ghastly blue light. In the center of the room stood a cracked and tarnished mirror, its surface shimmering with an unnatural radiance. The figure of a hooded woman emerged from the shadows, her face obscured. She gestured toward the mirror and spoke with a voice that echoed through the chamber. "Look into the mirror, and you shall see your true self." With trembling hands, I gazed into the mirror. At first, my reflection seemed ordinary, but as I stared deeper, it began to change. I saw myself, not as I appeared to the world, but as I truly was, stripped of all pretense and self-deception. The mirror revealed my darkest fears and deepest insecurities, twisting and contorting my image until I barely recognized myself. I saw the weight of my regrets, the faces of those I had wronged, and the shadows of my past. It was a relentless barrage of truth, a merciless assault on my soul. Just as I thought I couldn't bear it any longer, the mirror shattered with a deafening crash. The hooded figure vanished, leaving me alone in the darkness. The asylum seemed to come alive with whispered voices and unseen footsteps. Terrified and disoriented, I stumbled out of the asylum and returned to my computer. The dark web had shown me a reflection of my inner demons, and I couldn't escape the feeling that they had followed me back into the real world. As I disconnected from the dark web, I realized that the mirror had revealed a truth too horrifying to confront. The dark web had led me to a place where the line between reality and nightmare blurred, and I was left to grapple with the shattered fragments of my own soul. It was a cold and dreary night, rain tapping relentlessly against my window pane. As I sat alone in my dimly lit apartment, the idea of venturing into the dark web crept into my mind like a shadowy whisper. I had heard tales of its mysterious allure, and my curiosity had finally taken hold of me. With a sense of trepidation, I launched the Tor browser, my digital cloak of invisibility, and embarked on a journey into the murky depths of the internet. The dark web was a world of secrecy and danger, where the boundaries of the known and the forbidden blurred. As I navigated through clandestine websites and hidden forums, I stumbled upon a link that stood out like a flickering candle in the dark: the Obsidian Portal. The website greeted me with a black background and blood-red text that seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. The threads in the forum were filled with encrypted messages and discussions that hinted at the forbidden. The users on this site adopted aliases like Abyss Watcher and Shadow Screeby, masking their true identities with a veil of mystery. It was as if I had entered a realm where anonymity was sacred, and the pursuit of the unknown was an obsession. One particular thread caught my eye. Its title read, "The Veil of Shadows," and it promised to reveal secrets that transcended the limits of human understanding. The thread contained testimonies from users who claimed to have glimpsed the other side, a realm of darkness and despair. Skeptical yet intrigued, I decided to delve deeper. As I read through the thread, a private message appeared on my screen, sent by an anonymous user. It simply read, "Are you ready to step into the abyss?" With a mix of fear and curiosity, I replied, "Yes, I want to know." The message contained coordinates and cryptic instructions. I was to meet at the edge of a secluded forest, a place where the boundary between our world and the unknown had grown thin. The rendezvous was set for midnight, and I couldn't resist the call of the enigma. The night of the meeting arrived, and I found myself standing at the edge of the eerie forest. The moon cast pale, ghostly beams through the gnarled trees. Clutching the instructions in my trembling hand, I questioned whether I had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. I followed the coordinates deep into the forest, my footsteps echoing in the silence. The air grew colder, and the atmosphere became thick with an otherworldly presence. Soon I stumbled upon a clearing, illuminated by a faint ethereal light. In the center of the clearing, a circle of hooded figures, their faces hidden in the shadows of their cloaks, chanted in an ancient guttural language. At the heart of their ritual, a swirling vortex of darkness and mist took shape, defying all reason and reality. My heart raced as I realized I had stepped into something beyond my understanding. The figures gestured toward the vortex, inviting me to approach. I hesitated but could not resist the allure of the unknown. As I drew closer, the vortex seemed to beckon me, promising answers to questions I had never dared to ask. It offered knowledge beyond comprehension, truths that would shatter the very fabric of my existence. All I had to do was reach out and take its hand. But just as my fingers grazed the edge of the vortex, a surge of fear and clarity washed over me. I recoiled and stumbled back, a deafening roar emanating from the vortex as it collapsed in on itself. The hooded figures vanished, leaving me alone in the silent forest. I fled from the forest, my mind reeling from the horrors I had witnessed. The dark web had lured me into a place of unimaginable terror, and I had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death. As I returned to the safety of my computer, I couldn't help but wonder how many others had been drawn into the abyss, never to return. The dark web had shown me the true depths of human darkness, and I knew that I could never venture into those shadows again. Some secrets were better left buried in the abyss, for the price of knowledge could be far too high. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.